Selections from poems Beverly and I loved and read together. The first one is by William Shakespeare. It's a selection from a sonnet included in The Passionate Pilgrim. This was read at our wedding. If music and sweet poetry agree, as they must needs, the sister and the brother, then must the bond be great twixt thee and me, seeing thou lovest the one and I the other. Song by Dylan Thomas. This refrain, "Love me and lift your mask," was also read at our wedding. Love me, not as the dreaming nurses my falling lungs, nor the cypress in his age the lass's clay. Love me and lift your mask. Love me not as the girls of heaven their airy lovers, nor the mermaiden her salty lovers in the sea. Love me and lift your mask. Love me not as the ruffling pigeon the tops of trees, nor as the legion of the gulls the lip of waves. Love me and lift your mask. Love me as loves the mole his darkness, and the timid deer the tigress. Hate and fear be your two loves. Love me and lift your mask. This is called 13 Ways of Looking at a Blackbird. It is by Wallace Stevens. Beverly introduced me to Wallace Stevens. I have her to thank for opening my eyes. Among 20 snowy mountains, the only moving thing was the eye of the blackbird. 2. I was of 3 minds, like a tree in which there are 3 blackbirds. 3. The blackbird whirled in the autumn wind. It was a small part of the pantomime. 4. A man and a woman are one. A man and a woman and a blackbird are one. 5. I do not know which to prefer, the beauty of inflections or the beauty of innuendos, the blackbird whistling or just after. 6. Icicles filled the long window with barbaric glass. The shadow of the blackbird crossed it to and fro. The mood traced in the shadow an indecipherable cause. 7. O thin men of Haddam, why do you imagine golden birds? Do you not see how the blackbird walks around the feet of the women about you? 8. I know noble accents and lucid, inescapable rhythms. I know, too, that the blackbird is involved in what I know. 9. When the blackbird flew out of sight, it marked the edge of one of many circles. 10. At the sight of blackbirds flying in a green light, even the bawds of euphony would cry out sharply. 11. He rode over Connecticut in a glass coach. Once a fear pierced him in that he mistook the shadow of his equipage for blackbirds. 12. The river is moving. The blackbird must be flying. 13. It was evening all afternoon. It was snowing, and it was going to snow. The blackbird sat in the cedar limbs. This next selection is by John Donne, various passages from Devotions on Emergent Occasions. I read this to Beverly when she had lost her uncle and she had lost her mother. Later she told me that this did help. Variable and therefore miserable condition of man. This minute I was well and am ill this minute. I am surprised with a sudden change, an alteration to worse, and can impute it to no cause nor call it by any name. We study health, and we deliberate upon our meats and drink and air and exercises, and we hew and polish every stone that goes to that building. And so our health is a long and regular work. But in a minute a cannon batters all, overthrows all, demolishes all, a sickness unprevented for all our diligence, unsuspected for all our curiosity, nay, undeserved, if we consider only disorder summons us, seizes us, possesses us, destroys us in an instant. Second passage. My God, why comes thine anger so fast upon me? Why dost thou melt me, scatter me, pour me out like water upon the ground so instantly? Thou stayedst for the first world in Noah's time 120 years. Thou stayedst for a rebellious generation in the wilderness 40 years. Wilt thou stay no minute for me? Wilt thou make thy process and thy decree, thy citation and thy judgment, but one act? Third passage. As sickness is the greatest misery, so the greatest misery of sickness is solitude. When the infectiousness of the disease deters them who should assist from coming, even the physician scarce dares come. Solitude is a torment which is not threatened in hell itself. Mere vacuity, the first agent, God, the first instrument of God, nature, will not admit. Nothing can be utterly empty, but so near a degree towards vacuity as solitude as to be but one, they love not. When I am dead, and my body might infect, they have a remedy. They may bury me. But when I am but sick, and might infect, they have no remedy but their absence in my solitude. It is an excuse to them that are great and pretend and yet are loath to come. It is an inhibition to those who would truly come, because they may be made instruments and pestiducts to the infection of others by their coming. And it is an outlawry, an excommunication upon the patient, and separates him from all offices, not only of civility, but of working charity. A long sickness will weary friends at last, but a pestilential sickness averts them from the beginning. God himself would admit a figure of society, as there is a plurality of persons in God, though there be but one God, and all his external actions testify a love of society and communion. Fourth passage. No man is an island, entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. If a clod be washed away by the sea, Europe is the less. As well as if a promontory were, as well as if a manor of thy friends or of thine own were. Any man's death diminishes me, because I am involved in mankind. And therefore, never sin to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee. And this passage is from Death's Duel, the last sermon preached by John Donne. And he ends with this passage. There we leave you in that blessed dependency, to hang upon him that hangs upon the cross. There bathe in his tears, there suck at his wounds, and lie down in peace in his grave, till he vouchsafe you a resurrection and an ascension into that kingdom, which he hath prepared for you with the inestimable price of his incorruptible blood. Amen.